Deep in the heart of ancient Mesoamerica, where the sun burned hot and the land whispered secrets of old, there stood a mighty civilization known as the Toltecs. They were fierce warriors, wise priests, and skilled craftsmen. But among their many mysteries, none were as dark and powerful as the Obsidian Altars, sacred places where the line between the world of the living and the realm of the gods grew thin. Long ago, before the rise of the Aztecs, the Toltec city of Tollan shone like a jewel under the sun. Its temples reached for the sky, and its people walked with pride, for they believed they were chosen by the gods. But the gods demanded much, and the Toltecs obeyed. High on the steps of their great pyramids, beneath the watchful eyes of stone serpents, they built altars not of gold or marble, but of obsidian, a black, glass-like stone born from the fire of the earth itself. Obsidian was sacred to the Toltecs. They believed it was the blood of the earth frozen in time. When polished, it became a mirror, and in its reflection the priests claimed to see visions of the future, the faces of the gods, and the fate of their people. But the most powerful obsidian mirrors were not handheld. They were the altars, great slabs of the black stone placed at the heart of their temple. The greatest of these altars stood in the temple of Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror, the god of night, sorcery, and destiny. Tezcatlipoca was both feared and worshipped, for he saw all things in his obsidian mirror. The high priests would stand before his altar, their faces lit by the flicker of torches, and whisper prayers into the darkness. Some said the altar itself spoke back, its voice like the wind through jagged stone. The rituals performed on these altars were not for the weak of heart. The Toltecs believed that blood was the price of power, and so the altars were often stained with sacrifices. Warriors captured in battle would be led up the temple steps, their hearts offered to the gods in exchange for strength and victory. The priests would take a blade of obsidian, sharper than any metal, and perform the sacred duty. As the blood spilled upon the black stone, the altar would shimmer, as if drinking in the life force of the fallen. But not all who came to the altars were victims. Some were seekers of truth. It was said that if a man or woman had the courage to lie upon the obsidian altar and stare into its depths, they would see their own destiny. Some saw glory, others saw ruin. A few never woke from the visions at all, their spirits lost in the mirror's endless darkness. One such story tells of a young warrior named Xipilli. He was brave but reckless, and though he had fought many battles, he feared no enemy, except fate itself. One night, after a great victory, the priest told him that Tezcatlipoca had whispered his name. Xipilli knew what this meant. To be called by the smoking mirror was both an honor and a curse. With his heart pounding, Xipilli climbed the temple steps. The obsidian altar waited for him, cold and gleaming. The high priest told him to lie upon it. "Look into the stone," the priest said, "and know what the gods have written for you." Xipilli obeyed. As he stared into the black glass, the world around him faded. He saw visions, great battles, cities in flames, a jaguar with eyes like stars. But then the visions turned darker. He saw himself on his knees, his armor broken, his enemies laughing. He saw his own death. When he awoke, his body was drenched in sweat. The priests helped him stand, but they knew what he had seen. "The mirror does not lie," they told him. "But the future is not set in stone. Even destiny can be challenged." Xipilli left the temple a changed man. Some say he became the greatest warrior Tollan had ever known, fighting not just with strength, but with wisdom. Others whisper that in his final battle, he faced the exact fate the mirror had shown him, but he met it with a smile, for he had lived without fear. The obsidian altars of the Toltecs were more than just stone. They were doors to the unseen, bridges between the mortal world and the divine. But like all power, they came with a price. The Toltecs are gone now, their cities buried beneath time and earth, but the altars remain. Some broken, some lost waiting in the shadows for those brave enough to seek their secrets. And so the legend endures. If you walk the ruins of Tallinn on a moonless night, listen closely. The wind may carry the echoes of old prayers, and the black stone, if touched, may still whisper the dreams of the gods. But beware, the mirror sees all, and not all who look into it return unchanged.